Morning guys, what a beautiful day. So just finished work on my way home and because it's a nice day, got nothing else planned this morning. I think I might do a job on the car. One of the jobs I want to get done is grease up the trunnions or swivel pins, whatever you call them. So today, get the front wheels off, get the grease gun out, and we'll have a quick look round as well. We'll have a look at the front discs, the brake pad wear, and we'll just check underneath the front of the car and see what needs doing. But like I say, the main thing I want to do today is grease them trunnions. I like to do them every year. Just to keep everything lubricated, stop the metal on metal, because that is what will wear and cause breakage. That's one thing we don't want. It's a little bit cloudy, so hopefully that'll stop us getting too hot. Oh, and look! Can you notice? On the way to work this morning, the speedo decided to stop working. I hope it's not the actual head unit, because I changed that last year. I've got a feeling it's either the cable broken or it's come undone somewhere. But I really think it's possibly the cable broken, but you don't know here until you investigate. So that might be something else I'll be looking at this morning. Always something, isn't there? But never mind. It's the joys of owning an old car. I've had one of these before where the cable is square, where it goes in the gearbox, it's rounded itself off, so it's slipping round, so it might even be that, but it's not even like trying to go. Right, back home now, but I'm going to park down the drive, ready to get them front wheels off. So I'll see you in a bit. Right then, we're ready to go. I've got my trusty old grease gun. Got this oily old blanket out because this can be a messy job. And I've got some grease to fill up again. I always use this, just multi-purpose grease. And then, like I say, I do them every year. So the first job's going to be get the car, get the wheels off, get the car jacked up a bit, just enough so we can get them wheels off. I'll try and do them both at once. Sometimes I do one at a time, but today I think I'm going to do them both at once. I need to put some chocks under them back wheels because my drive is on a little bit of a slope forward. It's not much, but handbrake's not brilliant, and safety first. So I've got my chocks under the back wheels, handbrake on, in gear. Got some axle stands ready, so I'm going to jack it up enough to get either side on a axle stand, and then I'll crank them front wheels off. Now sometimes it's easier to loosen your wheel nuts before you do anything, and what tools you've got. If you're just going to use a wheel brace, then I would suggest just loosen the wheel nuts before you start. Right, let's go on with that. I always use a breaker bar because if they're a bit tight, this is easy. I don't suggest that you take them right off, just loosen them all so that when it's off the ground the wheel won't turn while you're undoing them. That's the only reason why I do it. Let's get on. So there we go, car's jacked up, put on axle stands, one either side, so the wheels are just off the ground. Look, that's all you need, it's plenty enough. When I jacked here, right there. Like I say, I did one side at a time. Don't need to go and put it stupidly high in the air. You can if you want, obviously, but I never do. There's just no need. Just need that wheel off the ground so that you can get it off easily to get to them trunnions. Right, let's crack on. See, once you've got your wheel nuts loosened, you can use one of these. I've took 3 off, obviously, but if you hadn't loosened them, when you go to undo it, the wheel will do this. So that's why I always loosen mine beforehand, so that when it comes to undoing them, just a little jerk and they're off. Samples, eh? Why struggle? There's that one off. Now the wheel will just drop off. I'm doing it one-handed. Show you. Have a quick look at your tyre. Tyres is quite good on this car still, which is all good. I always like to put my wheels just underneath the car, so if anything did happen, I wouldn't go straight down on the floor. Not that it's going to protect anything. Right, these are your swivel pins here and also at the bottom, and if you look around, they got quite dirty with all the mud and stuff what flies up when the wheel is spinning or goes up under your wheel arch, but this gets caked in it. It sticks to any grease. You can see there's grease here. So when we pump the grease in, we want it to come out of these joints. I'll show you that in a second or two, but first of all, I'm going to have a cup of tea. You've got to have a cup of tea, ain't you? And then we'll get on with the other side. Right, while I'm enjoying my tea, I'm just going to have a quick look around. As you can see, Phoebe's had a brake conversion, been converted to a disc brake rather than drums. It's got braided brake hoses, which are all good, and the brake pipes don't look too bad. This side is not quite as filthy, so you can see the trunnions or swivel pins. There is the top grease nipple, and there'll be another one on the bottom which we'll look at in a minute. I believe this brake conversion is Ford, and if I look here I can see that the brake shoes are pretty good. They are hardly anywhere, so that's good. Brake discs are good, a little bit rusty but they're fine. And while we're under this side, we'll just have a quick look around, check that everything else is okay, nothing's rusted through. Here is where I did that patch. Now that's last year, the year before. Everything's still alright there, look. It went right up to here. Obviously the paint has come off I put on, but still nice and solid. But like I say, as I'm working on the car, I'll have a look round this front chassis leg. We'll have a look at that. It's had some welding done before on the front here, still looks alright. And that is probably the speedo cable there, so we'll have a look at that in a bit. But first of all, I'll do the job what we started, and that is grease up these trunnions. So I'll finish my tea and then we'll go on with them. Right, we go back round to the driver's side now. Just having a look through here, look, you can see the brake pads through that gap there. They're still like new. Let's have a look underneath. So here's the bottom swivel pin. Let me see if I can move it. I should be able to. See how it swivels when you steer? As you can see there, just so we can push the camera there. See, when you turn your steering, that's how it moves backwards and forwards. You can feel whether it's feeling bad. You feel a little bit of roughness in the steering rack, but that's nothing to worry about. I'll try and move it about, just check there's no movement anywhere. And then we'll look at this. There's the bleed nipple there for the top one. And if we go round here, let me just move the steering over. If we look at here, that's the bleed nipple for the bottom trunnion. So the idea will be to pump grease in these, and you'll see the grease emerging from here. Now at this point I could clean this all off, but I'm not going to, because it's got kind of like a coating of grease on the outside. It's all mucked up to it, but I think that preserves it. Because it's got dust caps, that when you pump the grease is inside and it oozes out. The dirt is not going in, it's pure clean grease, so that'll just keep it clean and make sure that inside here is all greased, top and bottom, so as it swivels it's not metal on metal and gonna erode. I have seen them break off at this point here where they haven't been greased for years, and they'll just wear away and snap. This is the trackpad end or steering arm end, whatever you want to call it. This one here has actually got a grease nipple on, so I can grease this one. Feels okay. I think the one on the other side is a modern one. When you get newer ones or patterned ones, sometimes they're sealed, so just check that it's not all loose and that'll be fine. Right then, I need to set my grease gun up. It probably needs packing with grease, but I'll get on with that now. That's a dirty job. Right, as you can see, when I pump grease into this nipple, I like to pump. There's some little holes in the top here. The grease will start to come out. Just keep pumping until you see it coming out of the bottom around the seal. Then you know that is packed. I've greased my track rod end or steering rod end, whatever you call it, and I've greased the bottom one till it comes out there. So that's this side done. Any excess grease I like to wipe off. I'll just rub it on my brake lines just to keep them all covered. Put it anywhere really, just protection. Keep the water out, keep the rust out, we hope. Anyway, let's move around to the other side. I'll just mention while we're here, when you do this, if you're moving this, swiveling this backwards and forwards, if you get any grease on your discs, make sure you clean it off. You don't want grease on your brake discs. I normally give them a wipe with clean rag and some brake cleaner just to make sure, well, I've got my greasy hands on the discs. That's cleaned off. Right, we'll move back round to this side, which is the sunny side. Oh, I can't see now I look at the sun. as I was saying on the other side, that had a grease nipple on the track rod end. This one hasn't, so it's obviously been changed for a modern one. There's no play in it, but to check where possible. You will get some play in your brake discs, but it's not actually in the hub bearings, it's just the discs. And like I say, a bit of grease on there. I will clean these discs up when I've done. You may or may not be able to see the grease nipple on. And pump away. I can see immediately it's coming out here at the bottom. I think we're doing this with the camera, get grease everywhere. As you can see when I'm pumping this, the grease is coming out various places, which means that the grease has gone all round inside, so that's good. Same again with this bottom one. See the grease coming through? Just knows that it's all greased around that pin, which is good. Just get rid of the grease what's pumped out. You can clean it up completely, but I just like to wipe it everywhere, so I just think that ain't gonna do no harm. So that's greasing the trunnions. It's quite an easy job. It's messy, but I always feel better once I've done it. It may prevent a breakage here or here, and I have seen it happen a few times, just because sometimes it just never get done. People just keep driving and driving and driving year after year. Once they get dry, you can have a problem. Right then, so that's that job finished. Both sides have been greased up. I've had a little look under the front here. I found a couple of places that might need some attention soon. There's a place here, it's been welded before. Actually, it ain't that bad. I'll leave it. So under the front, and that's a little bit curly in places. It's not going to fall off anytime soon, so I'm quite happy. So the next little job I'm going to do is have a look and see what's going on with the Speedo. Right, so let's follow this cable. So it comes out the back of the head unit and it comes through the bulkhead here, runs down there. You can see the cable goes down through that clip and round at the bottom. Let's have a look underneath. Then it comes here, and there's where it's fixed to the gearbox. Seems to be fixed to the gearbox okay. Might even be the little pinion inside the gearbox broken. If it is, I'm not going to do anything with that for the minute, for obvious reasons. So the cable may be broken inside. So the next thing I'm going to check is inside the car at the head unit. Which is there. We'll get this out, we'll have a look behind and just check it. But I think it's tea time again first. Yep, cup of tea, then the Speedo. So I think what I'll do next is just get this head unit out, the Speedo, and just check the cable connection behind and I'll be able to turn the cable on the inner just to make sure that's not broken. If it's broken, I'll be able to turn it easy. But first of all, we'll get these wheels back on. Got some brake cleaner out and cloth, so I'm just going to clean the discs up. Like I said, I've been pulling the wheel round from the steering, so I'd like to get the grease off. I'll get that done and we'll have a look at that speedo. Right, as you can see, I'll put this driver's side wheel on. Just nipped up with this, I'll let it down and I'll just tighten them up with the breaker bar. Not overly tight, but just enough. I don't use a torque wrench or anything, I'll just nip them up how I feel safe with them, but you do whatever you want. But I'm just going to say, while I've got the wheel on, is when I can feel for any play anywhere. So you can easily turn it side to side, give it a wiggle, there's no play, spin the wheel. They drag a bit because of this car has got disc brakes and the pads are always touching the disc, but that's fine. And you can also get something underneath and just lift it and feel whether there's any play. Turn it side to side. Obviously I'd use two hands, but I'm just saying you can feel when if you've got any movement in any of them joints, which this one hasn't, which is all good. So I'll get the other side on. Right, that's the wheels back on. Just putting everything away. Just have a little bit of a tidy up. You can hear that noise. It's the compressor. I'm just going to do my tyre pressures while I'm here. Tyres stay up pretty well on Phebe. I don't know what you're putting in your tyres. I always keep mine at 30. Always have done. On all my Morris Minors, I always keep them at 30. Seem to run pretty good like that. I've never had a problem. Right, so I'll stick some air in the tyres and then we'll have a look at that speedo. So the tyre pressures were all good. Just check the water, same as always. If I do top this up, even if it's summer, I'll still just top it up with an antifreeze mix. Let's have a look what's going on in here. Still good. A bit of water in there, look. But it was very damp again this morning. But that seems to be working fine, that little breather setup. I am going to change it later on. Who knows when. Get cloth. And we'll keep an eye on this oil. Don't forget, I always keep the oil towards the bottom mark on the stick. There it is, look. It's not bad actually. That's about just nearer the fill mark than the full mark, which is how it should be. All is good, so I haven't lost any oil and everything is good. I will be cleaning the plugs, but that won't be today, and just cleaning the distributor cap. Oh, while we're here, so I was talking about brakes earlier, this is the remote servo for the brakes, and that is a remote reservoir, which could do with a little bit of brake fluid in, so I'll top that up. These brakes on this car are like modern day brakes. If you're going to have any sort of upgrade, that'd be a good one to have. This was already done when I got the car. If that was not done, that wouldn't bother me, but now I've had this with this done, they are brilliant. Right, some fluid in there. Rightio, let's get round to it now. Just have a look whether it's still connected. I can get to it through here, I guess. I'll stick the little camera on here and see what you... There we go. Yeah, speedo is still fastened to the back. I'll just unscrew it and take the cable off. It's greased up because I did it all when I changed it. I would say the cable snapped. I kept my hands clean all that time, now look at them. So I'm going to need a new cable, but that's not going to be today. That'll be at a later date. I'll put it back together anyway. Hang on a second. I'll be amazed if that speedo will start working, because I think because I can turn it around easily, the cable is snapped. I have got an electronic speedo which I used before when the other one wasn't working. I'm going to have a look in the shed now, or in the garage, and see if I can find that. We'll chuck that in, and of course, because we've done some work on the car, we need a test drive. Yay! That's the best thing about it, isn't it? And then I might today just get round to giving Phoebe a good clean. Anyway, let me see if I can find that speedo. We've obviously got to wait for it to get the satellites again. And you eagle-eyed people, I've noticed something here. One, I've wiped the dashboard down. I used some of the mists. Hey, that's come on pretty quick really. So yeah, I've wiped the dashboard down, and I've got change, because doing that job you do get extremely dirty. I put some well old stuff on. Right, I don't think that'll work on me all backwards. Oh, it does. I don't know how accurate that is. So we'll go through a little spin, and there's a little place on my test run which I go past it in the morning sometimes on the way to work, which tells you how fast you're going. And we'll have a look at this. So obviously the speedo's not working, it's going to be a broken cable, so I'll get one of them ordered. I don't know when I'm going to be doing it, because I don't like to say. But this is fine for now. To keep an eye on your speed, it's basically what it's for. I know once before when I had it in the car, when on my other channel, I did get some comments. Oh, get rid of that speedo, blah blah blah. But I will say it. I'll say it now. You know, I don't mind what people do to their cars. Whether they customise them, they rip them apart, they put things what are not meant to be in it. It's your car, do what you want, and that's what I do. It's my car, I'll do what I want. If I wanted it pure, I wouldn't have half the stuff in here. Well, I wouldn't have bought it, would I? With the modifications. I turned left, or I could have turned right, because sometimes I go and loop this way round a little bit of country road and then back. One of the reasons I turned left is because normally it's a job to go there, but this time of day there's not a lot of traffic. I can go that way round, but I just remembered I need to go the other way, so we can look at this speed camera, or speed sensor, safety sensor, so that we can see what speed we're doing. Like I say, it's a beautiful day. Hopefully that's going to stay nice for the weekend. That really sticks out how fast you're going. I think that takes a couple of seconds to change, but it should be accurate because it's worked by GPS. like your sat-navs. Feels about right. You get to know, like I went past that camera this morning and I noticed my speedo wasn't working, but I was bang on 29 miles an hour. So, you know, like I say, I wasn't looking at the speedo until then, and that's when I noticed it won't work. Well, the car don't feel any different because I've graced my trunnions. I just know, it's kind of like a peace of mind that I've done it, that maybe that'll save anything happening in that department. Right, so this road down here is where this little speed check camera is. I'll try and keep it on 30. It's quite fidgety, this little speeder. Well, 31, 30, obviously speeding up. So that's good. That's going to keep me in the region so I don't get any speeding tickets. Not that I speed about anyway, to be fair. There's a little bit of a delay with it. Come on Wiggins, like getting in the way, two abreast, pain in the neck. Yeah, we'll just go around this little block today. I was going to go around the countryway, but there's no need. Everything's good. Oh, a little bit of a disclaimer here. What I've just shown you is how I do grease my trunnions. How you do yours is up to you. The only thing I will say is make sure you do them. That's something will get overlooked on these cars. I've said it a few times, I guess, but yeah, just do it. It's an easy job, as you can see, but it's messy. Just get all your gear out, get some old gear on. Job done. Right. I think the next job, I'm just going to give Phebe a clean. She's starting to look a bit grubby. Like I said, I've cleaned the inside of it, but it's an everyday car, so it's going to get dirty. But the outside of it really needs a clean. I'm not going to do it all, I'm going to do it in sections because I need to give it a bit of a T-cut in places and get some good polish on it because it's starting to fade in the sun again. Just old cars do that, just the paint I suppose. So I'll do that next. Come on, what are you doing? Look, 13 miles an hour, mate. Right, I'm nearly back home. People weren't going too slow. I'd have been there. So that'll leave me to say, thanks for watching guys. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button for more videos of out driving in Phebe, out to classic car shows. Oh, by the way, the classic car show in Alton Broad, which I did tell you about, has been cancelled due to the COVID, but there's nothing we can do about that. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.